Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the 14th President of Sam Houston State University, Dr. Elisa White.
Oh, thank you so much. I was meeting some of you with some distance, of course, before we got started, and it's just so nice to see people without this little box around their heads. How many of you are zoomed out? That's just about all of us. Well, good afternoon. It's my pleasure to welcome you to the annual faculty and staff meeting that signifies the beginning of the new academic year. And as you can see, things are a little bit different. So I'm going to be putting this on, taking it off, depending on how far I am from you at any one moment. But before we get started, I want to say thank you for wearing these. Thank you for all of the work that you've done to keep us operating in as safe a manner as possible. You are making it possible, and I thank you. So in order to maintain a safe social distance, the only in-person attendees are the vice presidents, the athletic director, and awardees. And so thank you to all of you who have joined us virtually. You are important, and we're glad that you're part of this celebration as well. It's now my pleasure to present the Service Awards along with the Texas State University System Faculty Award, the Sam Houston State University Faculty and Staff Excellence Awards, and the University Police Department Accommodation. As your name is called, please come on stage to receive your award.
Division of Academic Affairs, 20-year faculty. William Jasper, Professor of Mathematics Education. Carol Nordon, Professor of English and Associate Dean of the College of Humanities and Social Sciences. Suzanne Strickland, Associate Professor, Newton Gresham Library. Jerry Cook, Professor of Biological Sciences. Tammy Cook, Professor of Biological Sciences. 20-year staff. Stacy Edmondson, Dean of the College of Education. Sherry Hirsch, College of Education Dean's Office. Sharice Hurst, Correctional Management Institute of Texas. Dustin Thornton, Department of Computer Science. Raquel Smith, Texas Research Institute of Environmental Studies. 25-year faculty. Wayne Barrett, Associate Professor of Music and Associate Dean of the College of Arts and Media. Helena Halmari, Professor of English. 25-year staff. Bill Thomas, Department of Theater and Musical Theater. Barbara Kivette Mason, Newton Gresham Library. 30-year faculty. Jörg Gerber, Professor of Criminal Justice and Criminology. 30-year staff. Lori Rose, Department of Biological Sciences. 35-year faculty. Christina Hansen, Professor of Theater. The following academic affairs faculty and staff are joining us virtually. 20-year faculty. Mark Frank, Professor of Economics and Chair of the Department of Economics and International Business. Renee James, Professor of Physics. Philip Morris, Professor of Accounting and Chair of the Department of Accounting. Bernadette Pruitt, Associate Professor of History. Tamara Wagner, Associate Professor of Political Science and Chair of the Department of Political Science. 25-year faculty. Martin Amorous, Associate Professor of Art. Mark Kalespis, Professor of Mathematics Education. Mitchell Roth, Professor of Criminal Justice and Criminology. 30-year faculty. Fergan Diang, Professor of Sociology. Gan Liang, Professor of Physics. Nicholas Pappas, Professor of History. Christopher White, Associate Professor of Mass Communications. 20-year staff: Harriet McHale, College of Criminal Justice. Pam Thaler, College of Business. Mike Yawn, Center for Law Engagement and Politics. 25-year staff: Philip Lyons, Dean of the College of Criminal Justice. Division of Finance and Operations. 20 years: Eleazar Mendoza, Facilities Management. 25 years: Hilbert Hightower, Controller's Office. Guillermina Ramirez, Facilities Management. 30 years: Marcela Castillo, Facilities Management. The following finance and operation awardees are joining us virtually. 20 years: Ted Norris, Facilities Management. 25 years: Margarita Laredo, Facilities Management. 30 years: James Harding, Facilities Management. Catalina Huezar, Facilities Management. Johnny Smith, Facilities Management. Trina Strange, Business Service Center. Jack Nichols, Facilities Management. Division of Enrollment Management. 25 years: Jeanette Collins, Student Account Services. Elfrida DeCuna, Registrar's Office. 35 years: Teresa Ringo, Associate Vice President of Enrollment Management and Registrar. The following Enrollment Management awardee is joining us virtually. 20 years: Mandy Carell, SAM Center. Division of University Advancement. 25 years: Mac Woodward, Sam Houston Memorial Museum. The following University Advancement awardee is joining us virtually. 30 years: Elaine Lewis, Sam Houston Press. Athletics. 20 years: Greg Hinsey, Athletics. The following athletics awardee is joining us virtually. 25 years: John Holder, Athletics. Division of Student Affairs. 20 years: James Von Rokel, Lohman Student Center. 25 years: Anna Mayoreno, Student Health Center. Kevin Morris, Public Safety Services. President's Office. 40 years: Frank Parker, Vice President of Student Affairs.
When someone has invested in a university for 40 years, 35 years, 30 years, 25 years, 20 years, I just have this real feeling of gratitude because you made it a university that we wanted to join, that we wanted to be part of. And so thank you to all of you for contributing and making Sam Houston what it is. Now we'll proceed to some other significant awards. Dr. Cook, please join me on stage. You're gonna have all the eyes on you for a moment. Dr. Jerry Cook, Professor of Biological Sciences, was named one of the recipients of the Texas State University System Regents Professor Award at the August Board of Regents meeting. Each year, the Board of Regents of the Texas State University System honors professors whose performance and contributions to the educational community have been exemplary. Recipients of the Regents Professor Award maintain this title for the duration of their service within the system, and recipients are formally recognized at the November Board of Regents meeting, where they receive a $10,000 stipend, a commemorative medallion, and a Board of Regents resolution. Congratulations, Dr. Cook. I think when you have lunch with anyone, you're paying. You may be seated. Thank you so much. Next, we'll recognize the 2020 Faculty Excellence Award recipients. This group was formally recognized August 18 at the Academic Awards Dinner. However, we wanted to acknowledge them again today in front of the entire SHSU faculty and staff. So please join me on stage as I call your name. The Excellence in Teaching Award, and this gentleman is attending virtually. That's Dr. Paul Eaton, Assistant Professor of Educational Leadership, and we're very proud of him. The Excellence in Scholarly and Creative Accomplishment Award goes to Dr. Jean Theodori, Professor of Sociology. Very proud. And Excellence in Service goes to Dr. Pam Zelpst, Professor of Management. And the David Payne Award for Academic Community Engagement, also attending virtually, goes to Ms. Linda James, Clinical Assistant Professor of the School of Nursing. Congratulations to you all. Thank you for your dedication to Sam Houston State. Now we'll recognize the 2020 Staff Excellence Award recipients. The 2020 award recipients were selected this past spring for their outstanding work at Sam Houston State University. In addition to the award presented today, they received a $2,000 stipend. As I call your name, please join me on stage. Claire Collins. Claire serves as the Director for Faculty Development in the College of Osteopathic Medicine. She joined the SHSU staff in 2017 and was instrumental in launching the new college. She works with both faculty and staff to provide training on an array of topics from teaching modalities to diversity, equity, and inclusion issues, and through to tech training. One of her colleagues said, without Claire, there would not be a first class of the College of Medicine. She's developed processes for admissions, assessment, curriculum, all the way through graduation and residency. Her dedication to the medical school will contribute to the institution as a whole, our future students and reputation, and the future doctors the program will develop. Thank you, Claire. Congratulations on your award. Chaz Stevens. Chaz currently serves as a data analyst for the School of Nursing. He's held this role for SAM since 2014. Chaz does everything from gathering numbers for accreditation, to grant application, to basic tech troubleshooting. On the nomination form, a colleague said Chaz goes above and beyond his job duties. He's a statistician by trade, but uses his technological knowledge to help faculty, staff, and students. He makes himself available both during and after hours. Another co-worker said, Chaz is very witty and often makes a difficult situation much less stressful with his can-do attitude and willingness to help everyone out, even when presented to him at the very last minute. Thank you, Chaz, for your dedication and hard work. And as Doris Pratt comes up, I'm going to go off script and ask someone to bring me some water. I should have thought of that before I got up here. Doris is a 28-year SHSU employee and currently serves as an administrative coordinator, too, for the College of Criminal Justice. In her role, she advises in-state, out-of-state, and international undergraduate and graduate students. Doris said, "Seeing the students cross the stage at commencement is the highlight of my job, especially after knowing the challenges they faced and how hard they've worked to get to that point." Doris is held in high esteem by her colleagues. One stated, "Doris is a guide, a counselor, a friend, and sometimes a mother figure for our students. She's one of the most respected individuals who work in our college and has earned the trust of students, staff, and faculty alike." Thank you, Doris. Dee Dee Kirk, if you'll come up. Dee Dee has been with the university for 14 years. She serves as the assistant to the chair for the Department of Counselor Education in the College of Education. Dee Dee's passion is working with students. She said, "I really like my job because I get to help students every day. That's what it's all about, helping and being there for students." A coworker also noted her love for the students and said Dee Dee's number one priority is to assist students. She consistently goes the extra mile to ensure students have the information they need and to assist them with any issues they may have. Thank you, Dee Dee, for your dedication to our students. Jessica Sides. I don't see Jessica, so let's go to Officer Whitfield. We have the privilege of recognizing a police officer who's getting an accommodation, and I want to recognize Officer Whitfield with the Sam Houston State University Police. You know, our university motto is "The measure of a life is its service," and I think of that daily as I'm doing anything on this campus that may impact us in any way. I think about that motto, and I know so many of you do. Officer Whitfield recently put that university motto in action. On the afternoon hours of May 31, 2020, Officer Brandon Whitfield noticed loud sounds of gunfire coming from a local apartment complex. As one of the first officers to arrive on scene, he immediately began life-saving measures to save a young teenage victim struck down by gunfire. While working diligently to resuscitate this victim, Officer Whitfield passionately spoke to the subject until he was able to be transported to the hospital for further care. Officer Whitfield's actions embody his commitment to serving others, but also the value he places on the lives of others. Thank you, Officer Whitfield, for your service and for representing our university so well. Thank you. I have some remarks to make, so I'm going to make sure that I'm ready to make them. So it is wonderful to see you here, and I know that a lot of our community members are joining us virtually. But I've been so looking forward to this meeting, just because I know you do it every year. You recognize those who've made Sam Houston what it is for a number of years, and we've got our award winners here and joining us virtually. But your colleagues are also watching because they want to vet you and honor you for your accomplishments. And I want to do so as well. But I wanted to take a minute to introduce myself. I'm so privileged to be here, very thrilled to be here. And I would normally drag my husband along with me. You'll see him, Elliot Herzlich. He's busy learning about Huntsville and opening his business. And he will be a great ambassador for the university and a great friend to the university. And he makes life a lot more fun for me and for our entire family. And so you will see us together because we are a team. And so if you see us out, please introduce yourselves so that I can introduce you to him. Thank you for the wonderful welcome that you have given us. I've enjoyed meeting some of you. I met more of you today, and I look forward to meeting more in the days to come. I'm grateful also to Sam Houston State's experienced cabinet. You all have been so helpful to me. I didn't know I would be asking you to help me through a hurricane, but the fact that you are experienced, I appreciate your work in the care and feeding of a new president here, and so thank you for that. I would be remiss if I didn't say thank you also to the President's office staff. what rock stars to really get me acclimated, but also to put on events like this. I'm so grateful to Kathy Gilcrease, Jessica Gillette, Charlene McWilliams, and Genesis Juarez for their assistance and attention. And if there was an award I could give for them just for patience, they would have earned it already. So what a year you had. I missed last year here, but you were busy putting us on the map. And so I wanted just to mention a few little things. I have a very long list of things that I could have mentioned, but I'm going to take just a few minutes to mention some of the highlights. Alumna Jenny Best was recently recognized as one of 5 distinguished biometrics and security leaders to earn a 2020 Women in Biometrics Award by the Security Industry Association. Alumna Dixie Shaw Tillman won the Regents Outstanding Teaching Award from the University of Texas Board of Regents. 7th grade science teacher and alumna Rebecca Hyatt was honored by the Houston Independent School District as the HISD Secondary Teacher of the Year. The SHSU Physicians Clinic opened in Conroe, and the SHSU Food Pantry celebrated the opening of a new location and is creating a vegetable garden in conjunction with the Wesley Foundation. Director of University Events, Shar McWilliams, received 2 Texas Star Awards from the International Live Events Association Texas chapters. And we are one of 119 U.S. colleges and universities chosen to receive the 2020 Carnegie Community Engagement Classification, and that's because of you. Sociology professor Jean Theodori, who received an award today, also received the 2019 Distinguished Rural Sociologist Award from the Rural Sociological Society. Biology professor Madhusudan Chowdhury was elected president of the American Society of Microbiology, Texas branch. Philosophy professor Benjamin Mitchell Yellen was one of 5 winners of the American Philosophical Association's Public Philosophy Op-Ed Contest. We ranked 8 of the Affordable Schools list of Texas' most affordable universities, which is critical to the students that we enroll. The U.S. Department of Homeland Security and the National Security Agency designated Sam Houston State University as a center for academic excellence in cyber defense education. The online Master of Library Science degree ranked 12th nationally, and we were ranked number something in Texas in online programs by Study.com. I edited this last night and deleted the number. We were highly ranked by Study.com in Texas online programs. The College of Criminal Justice ranked 2nd nationally for online graduate education by the U.S. News and World Report. And sociology professor Douglas Constance received the Agriculture, Food, and Human Values Society Richard P. Haynes Lifetime Achievement Award in Sustainable Agriculture. Finally, education professor Lisa Brown was honored with the Science Ambassador Fellowship from the Center for Disease Control and Prevention. Again, these are just a few highlights. I have pages and pages of things that I could have mentioned. Thank you for the culture of excellence that you've built here. 2019-2020 brought unusual challenges, and I would say spring brought challenges we've never seen before. And a lot of those challenges we're still facing. You answered the call with distinction, and I'm grateful for that. I'm proud to say that your contributions made a difference. And when the pandemic emerged in Texas, our faculty, staff, and students began making face masks and face shields to disperse to the community. You partnered with the Houston Food Bank to provide meals in response to our local families' needs, and dining services made substantial donations to the SHSU Food Pantry, which remained open to students and the Huntsville community during the crisis, and I appreciate that. On campus, you responded in typical We Can Do It fashion. Traditional curricula was transformed to remote instruction within 1 week. Roughly 8,800 students in need were awarded $8.8 million through CARES funding and the Bearcat Emergency Fund. Student activities and campus tours were converted to virtual delivery to keep the students engaged and lessen the stress of the sudden change to what was before a normal campus life. Between work groups, webinars, faculty maintenance, countless Zoom meetings, you have worked tirelessly to keep us running as smoothly as possible and as safely as possible during trying times. So I want to take a few minutes and talk about the future. And as I talk about the future, I can say I know less about the future than I did a year ago. I can tell you what it looks like. I can tell you what trends seem to be indicating. But as you are following the news along with me, we know that things are changing rapidly. Opportunities can spur change. Change is a matter of life. And I've said very often, you're either dragged by change or you frame change. And opportunities that drive change are exciting. And they bring this exhilarating look at what we can build from an opportunity that we see, and we can leverage it. Unfortunately, some change happens because of threat. Some change happens because of challenges that we didn't foresee or control. And those changes are often gut-wrenching. And I think that's where we are now. The changes that we're faced with now are gut-wrenching changes because they're not because of opportunities that we see naturally that we would be scanning the horizon for anyway, but they're in response to something that we did not foresee. However, even changes under these very trying conditions can lead to some positive outcomes. Sam Houston's reputation as a can-do community of vision and innovation gives me confidence that we can drive the changes so that we do preserve what's important to us, that we mitigate threats and maximize our opportunities. Higher education is facing multiple threats right now, and not just because of COVID-19. Obviously, that's the one that we are concerned with right this minute, right today. That virus can affect not only the health of our students, faculty, and staff, but in many ways is dividing our communities. We have a weakened economy due to the requirements for physical distancing. My husband's in the jewelry business. A lot of independent jewelers have gone out of business. Families who've had businesses for generations are no longer able to keep their doors open. We have supply chain disruptions. We've had some orders for equipment on the books for months, and we're still waiting for those to come in, primarily, again, because of the weakened economy and people not being able to work, all because of COVID-19. We have a freshman class whose high school senior year was disrupted academically and socially. We have social and racial inequities, injustices that have existed, frankly, for generations. They absolutely cannot be ignored. They cannot be allowed to continue. We have to face them now. We have uneven access to technologies that affect students' abilities to access educational materials. We have increasing cases of mental illness. And I know that I've encouraged you so far, so I'll stop right there. We have a lot of things that we are facing as a nation and as a society. But what I like about being in a university environment is the people who can make a difference and make progress and solving a lot of those issues are right here. This is the environment where changes are made that positively influence others, our own world, so to speak. So let's start how we can help. I'm sure you watch and follow John Gardner. He is a student success guru, and I've followed him for a number of years. And he said, isolated actions, no matter how effective or purposeful, are not enough. A college needs a shared aspirational vision for both student learning and for the institution's future. Now, he's really talking about student learning. He's talking about leveraging our work, harnessing collaboration for student success. But I want to focus on what he said at the end. It's also important for an institution's future. Our future depends on us having a shared aspirational vision. In fact, that shared vision may be more important now than it's ever been before. Our university has put a stake in the ground by articulating an important motto which says, the measure of a life is its service. There's a value statement in that motto. Our commitment to that motto is evidenced in how our operations align with the statement. So as we make decisions to answer those questions I raised earlier, I submit that we need to see how our actions and our decisions align with our commitment not only to student success, but our commitment to fostering a culture in which we practice service and inculcate service to others. And one very easy example is when I'm asking students to wear masks. Sometimes they think they're invincible, but I'm asking them to think about service to others. Think about that person that you are interacting with. If you don't think about you, think about others. Over the next few months, I'll meet more of you, and I'll learn more how your work contributes to our students' learning and to that life of service. And I hope to learn what's important to you. Now, I think I know some of those things because even when I was a candidate for this job, I looked on the website, I looked at what you said in your departments, I looked at some of your research, and I think that you want to contribute to the educational transformation of students at all levels in and out of the classroom. You want to contribute to your academic disciplines. You want to develop authentic, positive relationships and know that you're valued. I had a friend visit he was at Texas State for many years, but he visited over the weekend with me, but he was my boss in Alaska when I was an assistant professor. There are about 4 of us who were assistant professors at the same time 30 years ago, and we are very close friends now. You will make authentic relationships here, and those in this auditorium already have. Those of you who are new know that you'll make some of the best relationships that you will have for a lifetime right here on this campus. You want to enjoy your work, and you want to enjoy your place of work, and you want your well-being to matter, and I want the same. I want it for you, and I want it for me. This year, I'll begin to learn more about Sam Houston State and to learn more about you. Who are we as an institution? What is our brand? I can't get away from that because advertising is my field. It doesn't mean that I say who we are. It means that I discover who we are. And that's important. And once we know that, and you probably already do, we can make sure that our actions remain faithful to who we are. I already know that members of our broader community are better off because of their relationship with the university. We are a steward of place. We are agents of transformation in families. I've seen this firsthand. I am not a first-generation student, but my father is. He came from a very poor, very poor, very poor, very poor family in South Mississippi. They had no land. His mother picked cotton. His parents were not educated. He was the first in his family to finish high school. His life is very different from the lives of other members of his family because when he was 18 years old, he started college, finished 30 years later with a doctorate. I remember going to classes with him and with my mother in my young life. I remember going on field trips. I remember there taking tests in a professor's house when my mother had the flu. And the professor at Rocky Mountain College in Billings, Montana, said, come over and take it at the house. I remember how hard they worked over decades to get an education. I also know that the privileges that I've had and my brother have in our lives are very different from those of family members who did not get an education. So when I use the word transformation, it is not something I read. It's something that I experienced. And I want you to remember when you are interacting with students, whether it's in the classroom, in the dining hall, in the restroom, planting the flowers, whatever it is, you are making a difference in the lives of families. Sam Houston State is an agent of social mobility. We are significant economic drivers in our city and region. This area would be very different without us. We matter to Huntsville, Walker County, East Texas, and Texas. I know that Sam Houston State is important to students as they come to us uncertain about their future. They're not sure they'll be able to find jobs after graduation. They're graduating in a very tough job market. They're not sure about their safety and security when some people of the world put a different value on others based on their race, their skin color, their gender, or other factors. Their lives have been turned upside down, just as ours have, because of the COVID-19 pandemic. I want to talk about that just for a moment. We've never had to deal with a health crisis of this magnitude, not in my lifetime, and again, not for generations. We may be dealing with it for months. We may be dealing with it for years. If not this one, another one. We are creative, and my expectation is we will operate by controlling what we can to be the safest public-facing organization in the area. I've spent the last 6, now almost 7 months listening to virologists, epidemiologists, community health directors from all around the country, and what I've heard a number of times is that while we will not be able to keep COVID-19 from spreading, we must do what we can to flatten the curve to avoid overwhelming the health system at any given time. We expected an uptick in cases 2 weeks after the start of the semester, and we got one, just as there was after Memorial Day, after the 4th of July, and we weren't surprised. But I'm a little nervous about this weekend. Labor Day weekend is almost here. We need to be extra diligent to avoid a surge in cases related to the long weekend's festivities. I've asked people not to have those festivities, and I'm hoping that they don't. I've been talking to students, and I've asked student affairs folks to do what they can to impress upon students the importance of not letting their guard down, because we know that they do. I announced at the town hall meeting a few days ago that the campus would move to a COVID response level 2, and I want to take a little more time to explain what that means. You can see the various levels on our website, but I want to emphasize that there is a great deal of variability within each level. So think of the levels as broad swaths of options. So you would have level 1, you're going to have kind of a low level 1, going all the way to a high level 1, low level 2, all the way to a high level 2, and so forth. And the example that I gave in the town hall is, you know, when you are assigning a grade, there's a pretty big difference between an 81 and an 89, right? But they're both a B in many classes. And so we are at, I would say, the lower level of response level 2. And you say, well, why did you move to level 2? I've been asked that a lot. And I didn't see any particular shift in data. There was no smoking gun. There was no big indicator to move us from level 1 to level 2. And this is just me. I had only come August 10, but frankly, I probably would have had us on level 2 all summer. I just would have felt more comfortable with a little hyper-vigilance and the stress on the need to be super careful. And there's a lot of justification for being level 1 all summer. It worked fine. And I think there's some justification for choosing level 2. And this is what I want to say. It is a judgment call. There is no bright yellow line or bright red line. There is no bright line. It is a judgment call. But when I looked at the data and when I looked at what was happening around the country, I would have really had us on level 2 all summer. And I just decided that I wanted to go ahead and make that happen as a statement. Hey, guys, come on, let's really focus on compliance where we are. And so we know a lot more than we did. We continue to learn about the virus, how it may or may not spread, who's at the greatest risk, how it may be treated, and more. And some of the information we've gotten has conflicted. Some of it's been wrong. We got new information today, actually, about the idea that there may be a vaccine, or at least bigger trials later this fall, and I'm hopeful about that. I have no idea what that really will mean for us. So while it might have been a prudent thing for me to have identified a particular factor that would move us, that wasn't the case. I just wanted to send the message, we need to be hypervigilant. I'm sorry for the delay in communicating that to you. I thought I could communicate it last week, and then we were all delayed because of the hurricane. And let me mention hurricane. I'm so happy to have the emergency response team that we have here. Evidently, it's not your first hurricane, but it was mine, at least this close. And I was very, very grateful for the leadership of Kevin Morris, Steve Jeter, and I have the names, and I have them. I'm going to do something separate for those who led the evacuation centers in the Coliseum and also in the HKC. But we had a number of volunteers and a lot of experts who provided a great service to the evacuees from Port Arthur. And we've been designated to do that by the governor. And so when we are given a mission, I'm glad that we have the people who can make it happen. The advice I've been given over the last few months, you've all heard because you've been given it too. Practice physical distancing, wear a mask, and wash our hands often. To that end, our goal will be to continue those and to encourage others to do it. We've increased our cleaning and sanitizing protocols. We're monitoring active cases and hospital capacity. And Vice President Carlos Hernandez and his people are looking at expanding the number of buildings that have HIPAA filters. We have a lot of buildings that have them. We're looking at additional ways that we can operate for the long term, making us, again, one of the safest environments that would be public facing. I'm committed to working with you to figure this out and to foster an environment where students can be successful and how we practice service to others. And I believe we can do it. I believe the habits can be formed. But habits take a while to be developed. I've been visiting a lot of places on campus. I see most of our students complying, but not all of them. I speak to every one of them that I'm close enough where they can hear me, just so you know. Those who are not wearing masks are often typically walking by themselves or with a buddy. And I can see in some cases there could be some conflicting information because the World Health Organization encourages people to wear a mask outside if they can't be physically distanced, but doesn't say wear a mask if you're not right with someone. But we've made it a requirement on our campus. And so I remind people, and when I have my mask on, as I do when I'm outside, I'm just going to tell you how I do it, and I'm going to ask you to do it too. So when your mask is on, not over your face like that, and you see a student, and that student doesn't have a mask, just say, please put your mask up. And I just do it just like this. And remember, they don't know who I am right now. They don't know me from Adam. I could be you. So do it. Ask them. And then I say, please put it over your nose as well. And then if you have an issue that is a challenging issue that you need help, please contact Drew Miller, because Dr. Drew Miller can help you solve that problem. The other issue is that our policies require masks except when people are eating. So we've got students who are eating. They may be eating over a 2-hour period, and so they sometimes are a little bit negligent on that. Use some grace, but also encourage them. And if you have a problem, again, please let Dr. Miller know. And so let me tell you who Dr. Drew Miller is. He is leading a COVID-19 working group that I appointed this week. I'm pleased to have that working group working on our behalf. They're going to discuss, coordinate, and solve problems for us, and they'll make recommendations to the cabinet on a regular basis. It's a cross-divisional team that will see things together that not one person or division will see. They are going to start putting out a state of the campus correspondence every Thursday night. I actually think this is the first week, and I think this week's will come tomorrow. But beginning next week, they'll come every Thursday night. They'll explain terms like quarantine and isolation and close contact as defined by the CDC. They'll also give you more data that you can use to evaluate the state of the campus. And so we're going to try to push some more communication tools out to the community. And this working group, again, is cross-divisional, all levels of the university. And you'll have a place to go. If you don't know who to contact Dr. Drew Miller if you have a COVID question. Wow. You know, I'm so grateful for what the faculty are doing in the classroom with the support of the staff who help with instructional design and technology. This shift required a lot of work, a lot of extra work. And one of the things that could be good, it's only good right now because I didn't have to do it. I'm not teaching this semester, and I recognize that. I'm not the one trying to redesign my course right now. But I hope to teach. Hint, hint to my dean. I hope to teach, and I'll have to do it. But you know, when I was a kid, I wanted to be a travel agent. I thought it would be a great job. That job really is no more unless you're in a very specialized service. There is no travel agent. We use Expedia. We use Hotels.com. When I was an assistant professor at the University of Alaska, Fairbanks, I had access to 2 broadcast channels. Now we can stream on our smartphones. Also, when I was at the University of Alaska, I taught through distance learning. I taught journalism through a telephone to students in the bush. Distance ed, I just aged myself, didn't I? Technology has come a long way. 30 years ago, big cities had 2 daily newspapers. Now they're struggling to find one. Things change. How will higher education change? I don't know. My hope is that you change it and that somebody else does not. I'm hoping that you drive it and that you figure out what works and that I can carry that message so we retain what's important to us. How can we frame it so that we retain what's important to us and then let go of some things that may not be so important? I submit that we want Sam Houston State to continue to be the appropriate place for students to explore, to fall, get up again, fail, try again. That means we have to maintain interaction with them. We have to build relationships with them. How do we do that in this environment? We have to try. Whether virtually or face-to-face, we have to try. We want Sam Houston State to be the place for respectful but robust conversation about important issues. If not here, where? If not here, where? We want Sam Houston State to be a place for scholars to be able to do research, to contribute to their disciplines. How do they do that when they're so busy with things they never thought they'd have to fool with? We have to provide support for that. One of my favorite things about working in higher ed is working with the talent pool at a university. We have the intellectual capital to meet the challenges we face, and I'm honored to be working with you. And I'm closing, and they're going, oh, I'm glad. One of my friends, Dr. Jolene Kester, President Emerita of California State Northridge, said, leadership is collective strength used strategically. You will hear me say that a lot. It's my mantra, my mantra. I'll say it next year, and I'll say it the next year, and I'll say it the next year. Every time we meet in this meeting, I will say that. Leadership is collective strength used strategically. We are a community of leaders, strong faculty, staff, administrators with knowledge, skills, passion that we bring to a big university, a great university, to do big things. We have a shared purpose that brings us together. It gives us the ability to work to our strengths for student success. And so even in this weird time, I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about the future. And I'm really grateful to have the opportunity to work alongside you. Thank you for believing in your university. Thank you for allowing me to join you. Good things are still to come. Thank you.